All right, everybody. I have got a very special guest here today. This is Toman. He is actually the owner and founder of Leviathan Strength. It's a specialist strongman and powerlifting gym, and I'm probably doing a disservice by describing it like that, but I'll let him take the reins from here in a bit. But he's down in Tasmania, and he's been a client of ours for a little while, and I just wanted to bring him on and share his experience and, hear it from him on what it's been like working with us here at Gym Boss so far. So, mate, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
So, can you just fill us in a little bit, like maybe describe, how would you describe your gym if someone, first asked you, hey, what's Leviathan Strength all about?
So our space is dedicated to strength training. So we have specialized equipment, really high quality stuff for all your different needs. Our base sort of idea for the membership, but the sort of main service offering is personalized coaching. So based around that strength training. So we have a bunch of sole trader coaches, which is an unusual model for a lot of gyms, but I provide them with a lot of support. So essentially what I aim to do is to provide them with the workload that they need to service and maintain my membership base. They pay me a rent back, and it's a reciprocal arrangement. So a big issue with retaining good quality coaches is that if you employ them on salary, they don't get the majority of the money that they earn, and that breeds them to be unsatisfied with their situation. So what I've tried to do with this space is essentially cultivate them and then provide them work, but allow them to make big bucks, and that reciprocally makes my business successful. So
it's like really cool. We're talking about it just before we jumped on. It's where if you're part of the membership, people come in, they've got access to all the specialist equipment, strongman, powerlifting, and every single toy you can imagine is basically in there, right?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily like you get one-on-one PT every session, and it's not group training. You come in with your own personalized program, but you have a coach that you're accountable to, where you check in with, they update your program, and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll do they will do coaching sessions with them, but it's not handheld. They usually have 4 sessions to do a week, strength sessions to do a week. They might do 1 or 2 with their coach initially, and then the coach will then provide them ongoing sort of support as well afterwards. And that's how we sort of aim to do it. And also because a lot of the strength gyms are either just like barbells or like CrossFit or something like that. But we have all the barbell stuff, but plus all the commercial like hypertrophy equipment as well. So that's a pretty comprehensive offering for people as well, which not a lot of places do.
Yeah. And you got the fun stuff too, like the yokes and like all that stuff.
Yeah. Atlas stones and the like logs and things like that. And like lots of just because I'm a bit of a collector, so I like to get just every bit of every piece of equipment, variations and all that sort of stuff. So it allows people to sort of always be doing constructive stuff, but variations that are new, which keeps it really interesting for people, without it being deviating too far from what is real strength training, sort of.
Yeah, I love that, man. Yeah, just open up in the Gold Coast and we'll be sweet.
Yeah. Well, look, like maybe one day. The difficulty is that this sort of business needs someone to drive it directly. Like it's difficult to. You have to love it. So, like it doesn't work well as a franchise model, I don't think, unless you can find a really good group of franchisees. Like you really have to find them. So,
yeah, and it is more for like, and obviously you would take beginners, but it's more so for people that are serious about their training, right? It's not just like want to do a hit class here and there.
Yeah, so it's not like so they have to. Well, they have to be, but they need to be sort of pointed with what they want to do, because the space sort of allows for that, but also it's what's the word? What I'm trying to say. It's like specialized equipment, like it's and what you do with it is difficult. It's not and it requires technical skill. So a lot of it requires technical skill. So you do need a level of coaching. There is a barrier to entry with it, essentially.
Yeah.
But the point is that we have the coaches available that do that and show people how to do that, and then they get to do all that cool, fun stuff rather than it sort of being a bit just generic.
Yeah. Well, while we're on that, I would love to know, before starting working with us, how were you typically getting clients, and like, what was this, the situation business wise?
So we were going okay, especially up until the COVID wave came through down here. Like in December last year, like we were picking up a decent number of members. I was doing a fair bit of non-pointed sort of social media advertising, just boosting posts and trying to do some offers, but nothing with any real good structure. And we were ticking up in membership. Once sort of COVID came down here, it did stagnate a lot. Like that first month was not a good month. It was the worst month for the business since I've had it.
I think most gym owners can relate. Yeah.
Yeah. But like we sort of were going through anyway, and we do have a good loyal membership base that is really keen on their training. And because we're so specialized, there's not a lot of other places that can service that. So
are you 24/7 as well?
Yeah. So we've got swipe access, like full surveillance system, all that. So people can come in at any time. Which is another thing that other strength gyms don't generally do. Just because of there is on the setup of the business, there is a lot more compliance stuff you have to do for a 24/7 space compared to an accessible space like with staff all the time. So
yeah, that makes sense. So can I ask, what was the I suppose, what was the catalyst for wanting to reach out and look for some outside help with growing the gym?
Well, yeah, towards the end of that COVID period, I'd been doing advertising, and I needed to get my membership base up to my target. Essentially, I needed to get it up to the point where I knew that over the lease period of the building, and the investment that I put in, that I would get my return on investment. It was going fine, but I needed to, know that I can pay my debts off in that time and pay all that sort of stuff off in that time. So that was the sort of catalyst. I just saw you like an Insta ad, I think, of yours.
I think I was in your DMs.
I know you DM'd me. That's right. Yeah. So, and look, it was just opportunistically at the time. I said, well, look, fuck it. That sounds great. Like, why not? And we had a crack. The first marketing run we did there without the call center service was successful, but a lot of work for me. And it's also
just to clarify, so for people listening, we were doing the marketing, so we were generating the leads and the interested prospects, but that was it. Then everything else was left over to Toman and in his gym to do all the follow up, do all the phone calls, and get them booked in.
Yeah, and look, that like your advertising service went really well. We generated a lot of leads, and we did get through into that sort of sales process. And I'm not a born salesperson. Like I'm a bit of an introvert.
Listen to him, the introvert. He hasn't stopped talking the whole bloody recording.
Yeah, like I'm good one-on-one, but like it tires me out.
Yeah.
Dealing with new people all the time. And so that cold calling people was hard work for me, and I didn't enjoy it, but we did get through, and we did make plenty of sales. It was really well and truly, like I left the process going, that's a workable model for me. We got a lot more work than we had in the past. But yeah, and that sort of got us up to our base membership target.
Yeah, cool. And we did that was over the course of about a month, I think.
Yeah, no, it was super quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there, you were like, "This is cool, Jimmy, but can you guys take over the follow up and do all the phone calls for me?" And then that's where your second month is where we transitioned over into taking over the whole process. So all you're dealing with is the new people walking through the doors.
Yeah, and that's been amazing. So, this last month, basically, so we had a couple of new coaching staff come on. Mm-hmm. So the driver for it was that I needed to fill their books out, basically. So the gym itself was going fine, but I wanted them to be able to feel happy, have all their work. And the idea is that we sort of collectivize on the cost of marketing that way. So I get a return on investment on it. They get their stuff sorted, because it's really hard for coaches to they don't have as much means usually, especially if they're starting out or they're halfway through starting their businesses, to generate the work that they need to through social media. Especially these days, it's very, very, very competitive.
And these guys are, just to clarify, they're doing one-on-one coaching, these guys, yeah?
Yeah. So powerlifting coaches, strongman coaches, some of them have nutrition qualifications as far as like being able to do.
And just out of curiosity, what's the average rate that these guys are charging that when they sign a new client on? What's like the average weekly rate a client would be paying these coaches?
$180 to $200 a week.
And so that's the average weekly rate, 180 to 200. And that's for one-on-one PT coming a couple of times a week, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Couple of sessions a week, full coaching program with all their like nutrition, mobility, strength programming, support, all that stuff. So
okay. And so do you know your stats because right now on the day of recording this, it is the morning of the 16th of August, 2022. Do you know your August stats? Because if not, I've got them right here.
Well, my stats are slightly different to yours, so I'll tell you where I'm at with it, because I think we got some of the numbers slightly wrong in Amplify.
Okay.
But in my head, what we've done is we've picked up 18 high value clients in the last 16 days ish, and my ROI, so because of the business model I use, my ROI has been about $12,500, which is fine, but the coaches have made 43,000. Nice. So that's pretty good. So I get a 3x on my input essentially, and those guys get plenty of money.
Yeah, nice. So we got the same stats. I've got 18 sales for you, and we're like not counting today because it's literally only the morning. So we've got 18 signups in, call it 15 days. And this is all of those high ticket clients where they're paying minimum $180 a week.
Yeah.
That's solid. Yeah. And are they signing up for like 12-week programs or something like that?
So that's 12. That's for, so they're doing that for 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's but that's an ongoing service after that. So they've got a minimum time frame of 12 weeks, but generally we've got a pretty good retention people further down the pipeline as well. So
that's amazing. And can you just say those stats again in terms of the financials for this month so far, like the return? You said something like those numbers.
So about 12,500 for me. So
in terms of contract value?
That's contracted.
Yep.
And that's actually probably an underestimate, because some of the members have signed up for longer memberships than the base 12-week program.
Gotcha.
So some of those members, my ROI will be 3 times that. And then my coaches have made $43,000.
Far out. That's incredible.
That's in the next 3 months.
And
they'll probably generate a lot more than that out of those people as well. So
that's incredible. So well done to you and the team though as well, because we can take the relationship so far with the prospect by getting them to the gym, but you guys are doing an incredible job of being able to then get them signed up into your services, especially at that high price point.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do an hour-long consult with them where we do movement assessments and work through their goals and sort of everything, because everything's personalized to the person. We can cater to almost anyone's needs, So
That's awesome, mate. And tell me if these stats are correct, but I have 18 people have shown up to the gym and you've had 18 people sign up.
Yeah.
That's this month.
Yeah.
So of the people that have signed up, of the people that showed up, you've had 100% close rate.
Pretty much. Yeah. We generated a couple of sales organically that didn't go through your system.
Gotcha.
And we've had a couple of people who have showed up and not signed up.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
but still incredible job.
Yeah.
That's a testament to you guys.
But they were showing up for this program. They just didn't ring you guys.
Yeah,
essentially.
gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Which happens because, like, for people listening in, Toman's experiencing describing something that most gyms experience. When you run ads, you'll get you can directly correlate a fair chunk of the signups directly from the ad. You could be like, cool, that person was a lead, then they booked an appointment, then they signed up. But then you'll have some people that come in from outside of that you can't directly track, but you know it's because they've seen the advertising. They might not have necessarily entered their information through the ad. They might have gone directly to the website instead, like seen the ad. Oh, that thing looks cool. Let me Google Leviathan Strength. Then they check out a bit more stuff there, or they check out some more of your Instagram or whatever. And then they go ahead and try and reach out to you directly. And that happens quite a lot as well. So awesome, mate. Well done to you and the team. And we're only halfway through the month.
Yeah. Well, we're banging up against capacity constraints. So it's,
I know.
that's the problem now. So I've actually, I was kind of had this in the wings already, but I'm at the I'm taking, like, I've advertised for more coaches. I'm doing an internship program. So I've got to take on I'm taking on 4 new sort of developing strength coaches, and that's going to allow me to service more people in the future. But it's also, this process has given me the confidence, because previously to this, I wasn't really sure how things were going into the future to expand the business. But the building that we're in has the ability to add more spaces, essentially, because it's a warehouse complex. So we're now, I'm in the process of buying tons of new equipment and adding another 150 square meters of space initially as a stage 1 or stage 2 to the gym. And then there's another 250 square meters that could be further down the pipeline. So it means that this process has given me the confidence to know that I could generate the customers that I would need to service those spaces. And yeah, that's
how
really
does that
great.
feel though?
Yeah, it's excellent, man. Like, it means, the future looks very bright. It's very good.
Yeah, nice. It's just good to have that certainty, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, previous to this, like, I'm very hit and miss with my marketing, so, like, it's just, this is, whereas what we've done here and previously as well, really, there's guaranteed, well, not guaranteed work there, but there's solid work there, obviously. Yeah. And we've our budget's been quite small as far as the ads goes. We probably haven't reached a lot of the people in Hobart, so.
Yeah. And that will happen over a timeline then. Just the longer you advertise.
Well, that's what I mean. So it means that from the small number of people that we've targeted at, we've generated a lot of customers. And that, because the previous gym I worked at, they really saturated the market with ads. And they got to a point where they're just kind of spinning their wheels because everyone's seen it. Everyone knows their offer. Whereas I don't think that we have gotten to that point yet, essentially.
Yeah. And so what's some other, obviously you've got some signups, which is great, but that's the ultimate what people want. But what's some other benefits? Like, I'm guessing it's a time factor. Like, you're not spending all your time on the phone chasing leads.
Yeah. I can be totally, I'm very productive with my time. Whereas if I have to call all the leads, I'm constantly having to chase that up, Whereas I can just go about my business. I get my texts with a lead come in. I hand it out to a coach. I enter it in my schedule. And at the end of the day, I chase up on how it went. Like, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Not bad.
I mean, I've had to do a lot of upskilling with my coaches. Initially in the first couple of weeks, we had some teething issues from our side as far as just our processes go. And that's just part of doing anything new. We just had to put in work so that everyone knows what to do when things don't go well. We can rectify that and bring it up,
So you bulletproofed your internal processes as well, by the sounds of it.
Yeah. I mean, I've written some documents and stuff as well that sort of covers it all. So I'm hoping that ongoing we can just run through that stuff with people and they already know it before it's an issue,
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so this is something that most people don't ask, but what were your concerns before, starting with us? Like, you were like, okay, look, this could be a potential something, but you haven't quite started. What were kind of some of the things that you were like,
Um, well, obviously, it could all just be a total waste of money. Like we could pay you guys and nothing could happen and it could all go wrong. But the total cost of it is relative to what I was pouring out on ads is not that extreme, really, and it's more efficient essentially because my ROI per spend on the advertising is much higher. So essentially, like I'm spending probably the same or less on advertising because you got obviously paying you guys, but because the ads are more effective, it's better. But I didn't have a lot of initial concerns apart from the fact that you just might not be able to deliver what you're saying. And, but because you only sign us up initially for a 1 month lock-in, there's not a lot of risk there really. It's, I've invested far more heavily in failed things than this, and this is, not that this isn't a fun. You know what I mean?
I get you. The investment up front. You've done much bigger investments up front.
Yeah. Like it's like buying one piece of gym equipment that people might never use.
Well, what would be like, the final thing? Someone's watched this whole interview and they're like, yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. They're still kind of sitting on the fence. What's kind of your advice to that person?
I would say just give it a go, and make sure you've got your business processes you sorted on what you're going to do with your customers when they arrive, because they're going to arrive and you're going to have to deal with them.
It's a problem, but a good problem to have.
It's not a problem. It's just make sure you're ready to go, and then because once you start doing this process, you're going to have customers showing up, and it's going to be.
Actually, here's one final thing. What was it like when you had that with our full service of doing the marketing and the call center service combined? What was it like when you had that first customer show up through the doors?
Great. Just super great. Like, I knew it was going to work.
Yeah. There you go. I bet it's a bit of a sigh of relief when they show up.
Yeah, but that's the hardest. Like, it's the hardest thing with these coaching businesses and gyms. Like, it's easy enough to build a gym. It's easy enough to get all the stuff and all that. I mean, it's not that easy, but but getting customers to show up is the hardest ongoing thing. Like, it's yeah.
Awesome, mate. Well, Toman, thanks so much for sharing your story. It's really cool, man. It's and what you guys doing there is really unique as well. And like, hat off to you for leading your team and upskilling your guys and improving your processes internally and stuff. It's paying off because you got 100% close rate or close to. Yeah, you got close to. So, mate, you guys obviously doing something right. So well done.
No worries. Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Speak to you soon.